after basically neglecting my poor little garden pretty much all summer after I got it started early on, I've gotten back out there and I feel like my garden is welcoming me with big, wide open arms and spoiling me with so many little treasures that I really never expected to find out there. It has rained so much here this summer, but on this particular day, I had a quick little break in the weather to run out and pick some goodies. This is going to be a fabulous lunch. I've got my lettuce, I've got some pretty flowers, I have got my French lavender, some kale, my English lavender, some squash that I think I'm going to put into a chili. Oh, these tomatoes are candy basically. And then I actually have some chocolate mint, which I'm going to dry out for some tea, and some different herbs. And I've got my rosemary that I'm going to dry out. I'm going to dry out the rosemary and my 2 different lavenders, and I'm going to turn that into an infused oil for my body and my hair. I mean, this is really a tiny haul. I could have hauled in so much more, but I was being eaten alive by mosquitoes. Really all I went out for was for the rosemary and the lavender. But then I saw all these things, and I'm going to make a tuna salad today with my goodies. Both my hair and my skin have just been craving something really nourishing, so I decided I want to infuse some rosemary and some fresh lavender from the garden in some olive oil. And you can do it with fresh herbs, but I like to dry them out just because it prevents the oil from going rancid or from mold forming. Especially around here, everything's so damp, so drying them out first is the way I like to do it, but it also makes the house smell incredible. Space is limited here, so I have not yet invested in a dehydrator, so I just dry out my herbs in the oven. And meanwhile, I decided to make up a tuna salad with some of the fresh herbs from the garden, which, as you can see, happens to be a certain someone's absolute favorite thing ever. As I was chopping these herbs and smelling the amazing smells in my cottage, it really made me think about how important it is for me to remember to pull back and look at the big picture in life. I was feeling so disappointed about how things had gone with the garden this year, but that's just a small little moment. If I pull back and look at the big picture, things are really awesome. This is one of my favorites. I don't know if it's coming in. I love this seasoning from Trader Joe's. Like, it kind of just gives a little bit of a punch to whatever you put it in, which is just what my tuna needs. And poor Charlie, once I start putting these things in, he can't get any more. Sorry, buddy. You've already had yours. Fresh dill is one of my favorite things to put in my tuna salad, and I realized at this point that I hadn't picked any, but I did not want to go back out and brave the mosquitoes, so I just had to do without it. I'll tell you what I am like severely missing right now. That is sweet pickles. I normally would put sweet pickles in my tuna because I think it's just the most delicious thing ever, but I took away refined sugar maybe a month ago now. I'm not sure. I think it's like a month, and I'm through the hardest part of it, though I've done it before, and I feel like it just randomly throughout that first year, just hard times come back with it. Like, all of a sudden you're doing good, no cravings, and then like boom, for a couple days or a week maybe, you suddenly crave it again. But for right now, I'm doing really good without it and not really craving it too bad. So I almost just broke down and put some in just because I love it so much. But the crazy thing about taking away refined sugar is that once it's out, even if you've gone a long time, when you put it back in, like, it just, at least for me, I don't know about other people, for me, it immediately triggers me wanting more. So then all that hard work of eliminating it just, like, you know, goes out the drain, goes down the drain. So I don't want to do that to myself. So I have a dill-free and a pickle-free salad, but it's so full of so many different fresh herbs that's going to make it taste incredible. And actually, the sweetest thing anyway is these incredible, incredible tomatoes. Yum! I'm gonna get you! I'm gonna get you! You gonna come sit with me? Come on. Come here. Yeah, come sit here. I love this book. I love the entire point of this book is this point right here. Bad feelings like depression, anxiety, guilt, hopelessness, frustration, and anger are often caused by distorted thoughts. When you put the lie to these distorted thoughts, you can change the way you feel. I love this book. This is not sponsored in any way by David Burns or any of his works, but I love this book because it's just a workbook that helps you. I have hair in my face. You ever get that where you can't tell where it's coming from? Oh, there it is. Okay. But literally, it's just somewhat similar exercises, page after page after page, which is a very thick, long book, as you can see. But the whole point of it is to just write down your thoughts, identify why they're negative, like what was the thought pattern behind why you have a negative thought, and then write out the positive, truthful thought next to it. And it's literally just designed to help train your brain. Charlie wants to eat the book. I would say most people think I'm a positive person, and I am, but I have to fight negative thoughts constantly. Only in regards to myself, really not in regards to others. The thoughts are mainly just my thoughts, or how I perceive others may think about me. I love this book. I've gone through it once before, finished it, and loved it, helped, and then time's gone on, and I felt like I needed to go through it again. And maybe I'll have to just keep going through it. I don't know. But I'm happy to go through it because it's a nice feel-good thing. 10 days of self-esteem. I don't personally think it's going to take me 10 days to have great self-esteem, but I do know, since I've already done it, that this book helps me a lot. You're being such a good boy today, buddy. You're being such a nice fella. You're being so nice. I've had multiple people make comments recently that made me a little sad, but also, like, I so understand what they're saying. In the comments, they're saying things like, oh, man, I wish I had the kind of bond you have with Charlie with my dog. Or, man, my dog, I just can't get my dog to cooperate. But I feel like I have to say this just in case that's you. And that's an awful feeling when you're feeling like you have a dog that you love and you can't quite get the bond, or you can't quite get into the habits that you want with the dog. You're still working towards that. And I'm extra sensitive to that subject now because my first year and a half with Charlie was so hard. My best friend got her dog, Felix, not that long before I got mine, before I got Charlie. And I remember her saying a few months into me having Charlie, oh, don't you love him so much? And I was like, no, I don't. He was just a crazy little puppy. Like, he had kind of ADHD, and I don't even know. Like, he came from a really great breeder. And I know that his breeder breeds for temperament. She's been doing this for 40 years. Her dogs are amazing. His grandmother is a grand champion. Like, this is a really good, well-bred dog. And yet here he was. All I wanted was this. This was all I wanted because this was during the pandemic, and I had decided to get another dog because I needed cuddles. I needed to snuggle with something because I was living alone like I am now, and totally alone during the pandemic. And so here he comes into my life, and he literally couldn't stop. Like, he just would run around like a crazed lunatic. And usually puppies do that and then they crash. There was no crash ever. Ever. I did not get him fixed until 9 months because the vet recommended waiting until his liver was fully formed before using any type of anesthetic. So I actually didn't know that. Little dogs, their livers take longer to form. So when he got fixed, that helped, but not completely. He was still a nutcase, and I would try and take him out, but he was so, like, he would just battle with me. If I told him no, he would pitch like little fits.
This was after I told him he couldn't bite me. He had a little temper tantrum.
Where he'd run in circles like a crazed lunatic, and just, I couldn't calm him down. I had to, you'll see when you see videos of him out and about, he has a double harness. It's an escape-proof harness because he could get out of any harness I put him in. He had like a wiggle move, and he could get out and he would get away, and then I couldn't get him. And he was just crazy. He had no desire to sit with me. I would like sit on the sofa and be like, come here. No desire, none. And I was feeling like exactly how I hear certain commenters right now, like certain friends out there saying that that's how they're feeling, like they just don't have that connection. So I just thought I'd share really quickly what I did with him, and maybe it'll be encouraging, and maybe just seeing how he is now would be encouraging too, because yeah, watching Caesar's videos and watching a few other, there's another YouTube channel called The Farm. I'm going to put a link below because I love that video. I love that channel. They have the best videos. But watching essentially people who could transform dogs, go in and show the owner what to do to help the dog. That was encouraging to me because I was well aware that I was probably the problem. I was well aware of it. I knew he was his own little guy. He had special things, and I just had to do it right, but I didn't know what to do. So anyway, I called in some trainers. One trainer said, there's nothing you can do. You're going to have to put him on Ritalin. Because he just, like, you couldn't even train him because he was so crazy. Finally, a good friend of mine found a website where someone had written into the website's author about their chihuahua, who was very similar to Charlie. And the person wrote back with really great advice. And I started following some of the advice. And the advice may not be what's good for your dog, but the advice was, in this instance, you're clearly not being the alpha. You have to be the alpha. And I suddenly realized that Charlie was being the alpha, and anytime I would try and redirect him, he was just furious because he was like, no, I'm the alpha. And I've never had a dog that was an alpha. My last chihuahua, I got her when she was 4, and she just followed me around. She did whatever I did, and she just was happy to be around. Same thing with all the chihuahuas we had when I was younger. They were just there. We never really trained them. They just wanted to be around us. And here this little guy just wanted to boss me around and then not have me touch him. But I started following the suggestions, like not letting him on the sofa until after I'd been on it for 10 minutes. I stopped carrying him out the front door and made him walk out, but after me. I also took the suggestion to teach him tricks, because Chihuahuas really enjoy learning tricks. So I took the suggestion to start doing that. None of that immediately made him love me, but he started to become more manageable. And lo and behold, it was probably like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months into doing that, where he started making little adjustments into how he viewed me. And I think what happened with him, because of course every dog's different, but because he is such a strong alpha, I think what happened with him was he bonded with me as I was leading and directing him. And so that's made him slowly but surely calm down. And as he's calmed down, he's been able to bond with me even more. Because honestly, is my hair bugging you, buddy? He's becoming loving now. Like, it took a really long time, but he's finally becoming super loving. And so yeah, I say all that just to say, if by chance you're going through that little period where you haven't hit the right, what you have to do to get your dog to fall into what you want your life to look like with your dog, keep trying. I know it's so frustrating. I have put a lot of work in with him. I've even started, well, you've seen clips of it, I take him into towns. I try and do it every day. It ends up being sometimes every other day because I live about 20 minutes from most towns, but so that's a 40-minute drive round trip just to go in to train, really. But I take him into every store, walk with him. I want him to know he's safe with me, and I want him to get socialized. I've been taking him on all my photo shoots and putting him in a backpack and carting him around, and just, yeah, each little effort is slowly working. And I even have a bed that I've had in my bedroom that he's never sat in. Really, like the first 1.5 years of his life, he never sat in it, which I thought was crazy for a Chihuahua because normally they just want to be near you. And just recently at night, he started coming in. Like halfway through the night, he comes in and then sleeps in there now. So I have a feeling eventually he'll sleep in there all night, right by my side. But yeah, it had to go at his pace, which is just one of those things. You know, if ever you're looking and feeling a little bit jealous that things are good with Charlie here. Jealous not in a bad way, but just in a like, I wish I had that with my dog. Keep trying. You'll get it.
So at this point, my cottage was smelling amazing. The rosemary and lavender is such a beautiful combination. So I put them in a fairly large glass jar. I'm eventually going to divide it up into a few smaller jars, some for me and some that I'll give as gifts. And then I went ahead and poured in some olive oil, and I'm going to let this infuse for about 2 weeks in the windowsill. We haven't been getting that much sun, but the little that we do get will help it to infuse. Making my own little beauty products like this is such a satisfying thing, especially knowing that I grew the herbs myself. There's just something about that that makes me feel good, and I'll think about it every single time I put it in my hair or on my skin.
Just gonna check on it. Give it a little shake. I'm gonna let it sit for 2 weeks. But every day, if I remember, I'm gonna shake it.
Because it's been so rainy, I have not gone to the river in almost a month, and oh my word, is it full. The river is so full that it's running really quickly, so it's a great time to get in a raft and paddle down, or to get into a tube and float down. My next couple weeks are so busy, but I have got to get out there.
You have a sandy nose. You have a sandy nose. You good boy. Is this your spot? You like coming here? Me too. Hi, buddy.
And then Charlie's training got put to the test as about 4 boatfuls of teenage boys pulled up so they could have their lunch on the shore, and Charlie could not calm down.
Be nice. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice.
He's doing so much better though. I was able to get him to calm down for little bits of time, but then he'd look over and spot them, and he just couldn't help but do some more barking.
Be nice. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough, buddy. I know, so many boys. You just want to play with them? Is that what it is? They look like they're having fun. You're doing a good job. You're not barking. Good boy. It's a good boy.
Well, this video has kind of jumped all over the place. If you're still with me, thank you so much for watching. I guess what I've been really thinking about this week is just how sometimes life doesn't go as expected. But really, that's okay, because it is about the bigger picture. Pulling up, looking from afar, and seeing how beautiful life is anyway. Whether it's your dog not getting trained quickly, or your garden just not working out as expected, it doesn't mean things aren't going to still be okay. It might just take a little longer.